So how did I get to Memphis? Because I'm not from Memphis. I grew up in Atlanta. I was always interested in the church, but the thought of preaching 52 sermons a year sent shivers down my spine. It still does. I don't know how anybody could do that. But I read the Bible, and I saw this stuff in there about healing. It's on every page. You know, a third of the Bible has to do with healing the sick. But I would look around to see what churches did, and there wasn't much to it. We would pray for people on Sunday morning. The pastor was expected to visit people in the hospital. A few people visited the shut-ins, and that defined our healing ministry. It seemed to me that there ought to be more to it than that. This is what I do in seminary, thinking about this. And then one day, I'm in the chaplain's office at the Yale Medical School, and I look on his desk, and there's a little pamphlet that says, How to Start a Church-Based Health Clinic. And I go, that's it. That's what I want to do. You know, I'm going to start something called the Church Health Center. It's going to have a cross in its logo. It's going to be led by a Methodist minister. So I go to the most obvious place for funding, a Jewish family foundation. And they gave me the money. They gave me the money. The Plow Foundation gave the first money to start the Church Health Center, $100,000. So our focus then, as it is now, is really on what I'm talking about here. So the reason the Plow Foundation was willing to do this is because Jocelyn Rudner is such an unbelievably wonderful person to start with. But she could see the passion that I had. So in my opinion, passion can cover up a lot of mistakes. You know, if you have passion for the product you're selling, I think that goes a long way. You know, you got to be able to understand the person you're talking to. So I did understand what Jocelyn cared about. I learned that fairly quickly. But then there's just, you got to have an idea that's needed. And when you're dealing with the poorest major city in America, and who we were focused on then, as it's the case today, the people who work to make our lives comfortable. We opened our doors, and 12 people came. That was the first day we were open. It's the fewest we've ever seen. So 27 years later, there are over 60,000 people in Memphis who depend on the Church Health Center. We're their doctor. We're their doctor. So these are all people working in low-wage jobs. You know, in our attitude, if you're willing to clean out my latrine and you get sick, we think you ought to go to the front of the line. Here's what I need your help on the sales and marketing thing. We have put all our chips in the middle of the table, and we're playing for a really big prize to grow the work of the Church Health Center. In my opinion, to make Memphis better is we're moving everything at the Church Health Center to Sears Crosstown. I hope you've heard about this. So for the last 2 years now, I've been out trying to ask, who do I want to live with? You know, it's been a dating process, and it's been a great experience. And we are about to be married to Methodist Hospital, Rhodes College, St. Jude, ALSAC, the Memphis Teacher Residency, Teach for America. There will be 2 charter schools. And then there will be the magic, which I consider will happen in 260 apartments, intentionally designed for young doctors, young artists, young educators. Yeah. Right. Timing, you remember when the government shut down? Okay, well, there are actually consequences to stuff like that, and one of them is that the new market tax credits got delayed about 4 to 6 months, so we were actually hoping to break ground like right now this week, but the nature of new market tax credits is you can't break ground till you actually have them in hand, so it's there, they're committed, but it's going to be later this summer or October at the latest before that will happen. So but from the day the first shovel goes in the ground, it will be 2 years, a year to build out the core and shell, and then a year for tenant improvement. So toward the latter half of 2016 is when I hope you will all come to an amazing celebration.